Hey Keyblade Army, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be continuing the story essentially of my Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere experience. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing the gameplay. So this is going to be solely the video for gameplay. If you would like to hear about my experience at the premiere itself, then you can watch my previous video. And yeah, so this is just going to be my gameplay. I'm going to show you guys some footage of my hands-on of playing Kingdom Hearts 3. So as I said in my previous video, I did play with an Xbox controller because that was all that was available if I wanted to play earlier than my group, and I really did. So I played with an Xbox controller, and it was on the Xbox One X, I believe. So it looked really good. I don't like the controller very much, but it was fine. Everything was sort of the same, so it was fine. And it looked really good on the Xbox One X. I can't really speak for how it looked on the PlayStation 4 Pro, which is how I'd like to play it whenever it comes out, but it was pretty cool on the Xbox One X. So that is how I played it, and yeah, so I got to play early, like I said, for my group number, which was group 2, and I went and there were stations. I went to my station, and you have the option to play 2 worlds, and that is the Olympus and that is Toy Box, so Toy Story and Hercules. So the first one I did was Olympus because that is the first one listed, and it is much shorter than the Toy Story world. So Olympus is basically just climbing Mount Olympus and fighting the Rock Titan, which I'm sure most of you already know about that fight based on some of the previous trailers that we have seen. Well, the Rock Titan fight was so much fun, and I really enjoyed it. It just gave me classic Kingdom Hearts vibes, and I love that about it. Previously to that, we were kind of just basically introduced to the parkour of Kingdom Hearts 3, which is climbing up massive walls. So you did have walls that you could climb straight up, and you had to like avoid rocks as you were climbing those. And I have to say, I personally would prefer if you couldn't really see the highlight of where you could walk up walls, just because I find it to be a little bit distracting. I think that there would probably be a better way for them to incorporate that, like maybe pressing a certain button to see where you can parkour instead of seeing that like distracting highlight of where you can climb walls, because if you wanted to take a screenshot or something, it wouldn't really look that nice. So I'm really hoping that in the final version it's not so obvious where you can do parkour. It might have just been for the demo, because you guys know this was a demo, so I mean anything can change, and it could just have been solely for the purpose of knowing what to do during the demo. That being said, that's pretty much it for the Colosseum, or not the Colosseum, but like Mount Olympus. It was pretty much what you'd expect. It was very short. The combat was pretty easy, really fun, very similar to 0.2, which I'll explain later as well. But yeah, so then I went and did the Toy Story world. And now the Toy Story world, aka Toy Box, is massive. So we were told during the panel that it would be 30% of the world and of like the Toy Story in the game. 30%. And I could not get over how big everything was for only being 1/3 of the world. Was insane, because it was so much bigger than in the previous Kingdom Hearts games, in a good way. Everything was so vibrant in this world and beautiful, and it just looked so good. I cannot tell you guys how good it looked. So the first thing I'd like to point out, and I'm not allowed to show you guys any cutscenes, but I would like to say that I thought Woody's voice was a little bit jarring. I talked to my friend and she said she thought it sounded pretty good, but me personally, I thought it sounded a little bit weird. I guess just because I know exactly what Woody's voice sounds like, and it didn't sound like him. You could tell it wasn't, and that to me was a little weird. But that being said, you all probably wanted to hear this. Considering Sora's voice at the end of 0.2 in the 2.9 cutscene and in Dream Drop Distance, it sounds a little weird. Well, in Kingdom Hearts 3, Sora's voice acting is 10 out of 10. Haley Joel Osment nailed it. He sounds fantastic in the cutscenes and in gameplay as well. He sounds great. So please do not worry about Sora's voice acting. It's going to be awesome. I can promise you that. Because it did start with a cutscene. And then you get to explore Andy's room. And it's so beautiful and colorful and just everything you'd ever want in Kingdom Hearts 3. And, you know, you jump out the window and you go outside. And even the neighborhood is big and there's so much to explore. And the fighting, like the combat outside, you had like the large bodies, which we've seen in trailers as well. And I thought that overall the combat was really fun and satisfying. I would like to point out something that a lot of people have noticed that I actually didn't really notice whenever I was playing, because I am definitely more of a casual player. The combat is definitely floaty. And somebody actually asked me about this in my stream yesterday, and I was unsure of how to respond because I didn't really actually know what they meant. But after looking at what they mean and going back and watching the gameplay, I do see what they're talking about. So there's a lot of air combos, and you're just like constantly flopping around in the air instead of like being on the ground a lot more, such as in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. So that is definitely something that I think needs to be worked on and balanced a little bit better. Of course, it's not perfect. I'm not going to say that it's perfect because I think that there are some things that could be improved on, but I know that it's not really necessarily my place to say these things just because I don't have a lot of experience with like speed running or just overall like mechanics of the game. I can only say like what my opinions were, and I think that it was very similar to 0.2, which is good because I personally think the combat of 0.2 is really fun. For example, one of the cool new features of Kingdom Hearts 3 is that you can switch Keyblades mid-combat, which kind of allows for you to do more things during like boss battles, for example, because each Keyblade obviously does something different. So now that we can change them and have like 3 equipped and switch through them is a really, really amazing concept. And I'm really happy that they incorporated it. I personally think that that is a step in the right direction. And I think that it really improves the combat from Kingdom Hearts 2. Now, my issues with the combat is just simply that Kingdom Hearts 2's combat was so good. It's very, very hard to top it. And so seeing the differences between Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 will naturally make you compare them. And so I definitely did compare them in my head. Overall, I thought it was good. It was really good. The Kingdom Hearts 2 combat, the combos I felt were very satisfying. The limits were very expressive and big and just so powerful, which I really liked. I loved feeling like I was doing something, you know, intense. And like the, for example, attraction flow, where you're able to be Disney World rides, was so cool and so much fun. Like being the train ride and the little bumper cars, like, or the teacups rather, I mean, that was so cool and just beautiful. Like it was so good. So that is definitely a step in the right direction. Now, in terms of drive forms, there's the second form, which is essentially Sora turning into his Kingdom Hearts 2 self. And there's also like limit form, but it's just, I guess not having a drive gauge was weird for me. And I think I'd probably get used to it though. It's just, like I said, it's hard not to compare them. But if you can get past that, it was good. Shot lock, so much fun. The shot lock was great. You know, I think 0.2 really perfected shot lock anyway, other than the fact that it was very like limited. I think in Kingdom Hearts 3, the shot lock is going to have a lot more options, and it's just going to be very good overall, and just a good addition to the game. The shot locks are actually different depending on what Keyblade you're using, so I think that that was a really cool way to incorporate different attacks using shot lock. Something else that I'd like to point out is that you can actually change the form of your Keyblade. So as you saw before, you can actually change the Toy Story Keyblade into a hammer, and that is going to be a continuous theme throughout the game, which is a really, really epic addition. Now let's talk about that flow motion. I did use flow motion during Olympus and even a little bit in the toy box. I really like the way that they did flow motion, because I enjoyed flow motion in Dream Drop Distance, but I did feel as though it was very spammy. Like you could just keep doing it and it was very OP. Whereas in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's so much more balanced, and you can only really like push off of the wall once and then attack, and that's pretty much it. You can't spam it. It's just a really subtle and good incorporation into Kingdom Hearts 3. I thought that was done perfectly. No complaints with the flow motion whatsoever. Really good. Now the falling sequences are really cool, because you guys have seen in the previous trailers that you have Sora free falling and he kind of looks like a flying squirrel. Well, they have that in Kingdom Hearts 3 anytime you fall from a high distance, and you'll see that in my gameplay that he just falls like a little squirrel, and it's awesome, and it feels so just like it like gets your adrenaline going almost as you're falling. They've done such a good job with those animations. I'm so impressed, like for real. And yeah, I mean, that's like basically it. I mean, they did show Wreck-It Ralph and that you can summon him, and that's cool. So I guess the summons are called links now in Kingdom Hearts 3. Unfortunately, I was a pleb and I was so focused on just like my atmosphere and stuff, I completely forgot to use the links. So I didn't use Ralph. I didn't get to use like the Tangled one. But those are there and they're really cool.
Yeah. Quiet. Together.
The Tangled one I'm thinking of is actually just a finisher for Mirage Staff, so yeah. It looks really cool though. I also want to point out that there is Duck Flare, the limit, which is personally one of my favorite limits, but it's definitely not as flashy or as long as from Kingdom Hearts 2. I also wanted to talk about the whole mech thing because I completely forgot to mention it, but being in the robot mechs was honestly so much fun, and I felt like diva. I think you guys are going to really love it. I know a lot of people were skeptical of it, thought it was like a little gimmicky, but I promise it is so much fun and very well incorporated. Also, something incredible is that everything is going to be voiced, and there are no more of those little speech bubble things. Now it just has the subtitle and the NPC talks. I don't know like every little detail about the gameplay because like I said, I was just so immersed in the game itself and the story and the graphics and just like the basic combat because I don't know, it was just so much to take in just like a short period of time. But these are just the things that I have personally noticed and my own experience that I'm sharing with you. Of course, there are going to be other people who went to the event out there who know a little bit more about the combat and what should be changed and what's good and what's bad. But the good news is that these developers are listening to the feedback already and changing things and making it better. So that's really, really awesome. There's nothing for us to worry about. It's going to be great. I would like to say that Nomura did watch me play for a small period of time. Somebody said they were going to take a picture of it, but of course they did not, out of respect for Nomura, because he's very shy about things like that and having his picture taken. But I'm glad I didn't know he was watching me because I think I would have freaked out. So yeah, he was going around and watching other people play too, and it was crazy and a little intimidating, but in a good way. But yeah, so overall, the Kingdom Hearts 3 experience was amazing, you guys. The graphics were out of this world, so vibrant, and just you feel like you're there. And I think that they did a very, very perfect job with the atmosphere and the graphics of Kingdom Hearts 3. I think the Unreal Engine looks fantastic. I think that they've just done such a good job with it, and I'm just so excited to play the full game now. It's just gotten me even more hyped. So yes, amazing game. There was just so much to take in, big giant worlds that are not empty at all. So much to explore. There are hidden Mickey Mouses, which I didn't personally see, but I know somebody else did. I'm actually gonna go through my footage and see if I can find any that I might have missed. But yeah, that was the best experience of my life. I can't tell you guys how exciting it was. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing. I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. If I think of anything else, then I will definitely go ahead and make another video. And if you guys have any questions, leave them down below. That might inspire me to make more videos that address the gameplay and what I experienced with Kingdom Hearts 3 and the premiere and all of that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm Keyblade Sarah on everything except for Snapchat. I'm Keyblade Master. I actually plan on making a second channel for like other things that I want to talk about, like beauty and fashion and things like that. I think I'm going to have a second channel for that. In case you guys are interested, let me know if that is something that you would like to see. I think I would just name it like Keyblade Sarah 2 or something like that. But yeah, I've been thinking about that, so pretty awesome. What an amazing experience I've had, you guys. I'm so happy to talk about this with you and finally share it with you, because keeping it a secret was so hard. But yeah, all right, thank you guys so much. I hope you have a fantastic day or evening depending on wherever you are. Yeah, may your heart be your guiding key.